So we've been getting a lot of wind up here, and we're expecting a windstorm later today that PG&E is actually going to shut off the power for about 36 to 48 hours. We'll be without power. So we'll be running generators. I don't know if I'll have enough juice to run what we need inside and the lights outside, but we'll see. But my scarecrow is actually fallen over a couple of times, not over, but kind of twisted out of battery. And when I first put this together, I glued some of the connections, but then other connections, just so I could store it easy, I just used screws. And then so a couple of them I had forgotten, and so I just tried to bolster up this waist part right here, because this was all toppled over when I got home from a business trip. But so I've also added 2 paracords and just put some eye hooks down here, and those just go up to, I don't know if you could see that, some zip ties that I already had in place. So that's just a simple knot up there, but I'm using what's known as a slip hitch knot. I believe that's what it's called. Anyway, it's super tight. Once you tighten it, it will not come undone, which is great for securing stuff like this. And then I have one in the front. I'm just using black paracord, so you won't be able to see it at night. And then I just hammered a stake into the ground, and I'm using an eye hook down there. So our power is going to go out at any time now, and it's probably going to be out for 24 to 48 hours is what they're saying, due to high winds, and there's already a big fire, huge fire in a neighboring county, and we are in a very high fire zone. So I got a couple of generators here to keep our lights on and that, and also hopefully to keep working in here. But so I've got some of the black fabric up, and I've just left a little bit of a gap on the bottom so that the fog will be able to, the air can actually come in, and the fog can be mixed with that air to keep it kind of airborne and well distributed. So I took Jason's hockey mask off. What I want to do is I want to put some little LED lights that shine into his eyes that I can control with the Boobox Flex, because the last 2 channels are dimmable channels that can power LEDs directly. So anytime you're adding lighting to anything plastic or anything like that, you run the risk of the light showing through, which is what was going on the hockey mask here. So I just spray painted it black, masked the front and spray painted it black, and now I'm just going to hot glue some amber LEDs that I've sanded with sandpaper. The reason why you want to sand these with sandpaper is these particular LEDs, they actually act like a little spotlight, and there's a halo around it. It's not really a clean like spot if you wanted to use this as a spot. So what you do is you just take some sandpaper and rough up the surface, and that diffuses the light and distributes it a lot more evenly. So I'm just going to hot glue these right underneath. I want it to come up from underneath because that's how the hockey mask sits on Jason's face. And so what'll happen is I've got all my motion sensors installed too. There's one up here, and then as the guest goes through this way, there's one above right here. And that, when that goes off, when that motion sensor is activated, then these 2 lasers that will be shining down here and obscuring Jason will cut out. A strobe light that I'll have mounted up here will come on, and at the same time we'll have those LEDs come on to light up his eyes, and then the scare sound will play. So that's the theory anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue these in and just plug in or turn some power onto the LEDs to see what it looks like. So this is a good thing to use. I use this all the time. It's just a little 9-volt battery connector. I don't know if that's going to focus. There we go. So instead of actually hooking up your wire to like a power source and fussing with that, you can just hook it up to one of these real quick just to check the lighting. Now it's only 9 volts, but it's going to be pretty close to 12, the same brightness. The nice thing about hooking this up to the Boobox Flex is that that channel, that LED channel, is dimmable. So if I don't like the look, if I think it's too bright or whatever, I can just dim it down right in the director software. Yeah, so that really does work. You cannot see what's behind there. That's cool. So what I like about this liquid sky, about how I've mounted the lasers, is you really can't see the light source, so it won't be shining in your eyes or anything like that. And man, that is just so cool. Now I have Jason's eyes on, so obviously those will be off, but you really can't see him back there. There's not a lot of fog in here either, though, as you can see. You really want that fog to build up, so kind of like how it's building up right there. So I just have 2 lasers on this side, and then I'll have 2 on the other side, and then I'll add 4 to the big open area back there. But yeah, that is really cool. You can't even see him, except for when the eyes are on. I don't know if you can hear that wind, but we are experiencing a windstorm like I've never seen before. And there's sirens outside. We're actually in a really high fire danger area, and there's fires burning all over the North Bay area, California right now. So just trying to keep doing some Halloween stuff to take my mind off of things. I got the week off, so I figured I'd show you these signs that I made last year. They're kind of cool. So this is the exit sign.
E-X-I-T. Exit.
And I'll open the other one. This is the enter sign because I got to change the batteries. So basically it's just like a small picture frame box that I built. And on the face of it is just a scrap piece of acrylic sheet. And I get a lot of these at like Tap Plastics, but if you can just go to like Home Depot or Home Center, you can get like 1 foot by 1 foot squares, and you can make a bunch of cool, neat signs like this. Because this year everything's going to be like blacked out, it's not going to be obvious where the entrance and exit is, because I'm going to have more or less like curtains just to keep most of the fog in. So I really want to use these signs again this year. Don't want people going in the wrong way. The nice thing about this is they're battery operated, you don't have to fuss with extension cords or anything like that. So that's what the inside of it looks like. And to do the lettering, I just cut a stencil on like a Cricut cutter. I use a silhouette portrait. And then you put the stenciled letters on here with transfer tape and the arrow, then I just spray painted it flat black, peeled the letters off, and voila, you have a sign. So these are these little puck lights that I've epoxied the bottom part on here, and they just take 3 AAA batteries, and usually I'm better about removing batteries for storage, but I did not this time, so I'm going to replace these guys. And then I'll show you my trick for getting the color that you want. I figure just having one color is kind of boring. So red, for exit, enter is green. So usually I do like a green blue on the enter, and then a red blue on the exit. is when the colors blend, it looks pretty cool. You get, purples on the exit sign, and you get like aquas and teals on the inner sign. So I power it on, and it just comes on a color. And then what I do is I know that it's going to go back like this. I want the beginning of the inner side to be green, and I want this side to be blue, so I just cover it up. You gotta, tricky. There we go. And now I just have to hit the off button, and when it turns on, it'll stay those colors. So I'll just button this back up. And I just have some like 1/8 inch plywood as backers on this. I have a couple little brackets on the side right here, so you can just hang it real easy. So that's what the inner sign looks like. And believe it or not, the remote actually works right through there. Anyway, figured I'd show you my enter and exit signs. Okay, so the wind is still blowing like crazy outside, so it's a good time to just get some work done inside. I got all of my ceiling covered with black fabric, and then I've got a nice little alcove over here created for Jason. He's all covered in with black fabric. So that was kind of the lion's share of the work on that. The only thing I have really left to do is hang the fabric on this side, which is a lot easier. The ceiling's kind of tricky because you really want to pull it tight, since I've got those lasers for that liquid sky. I needed to make sure it was tight and there was nothing sagging. Got my motion sensors in, and then back here I just have to clean all this up. The wind is so bad outside, I can't really do any construction today with any plywood. It'd be blowing all over the place. But back here I want to build a couple of facades, a little outhouse to cover the mill, and then like a swamp shack as the front. And if I do that, then my inspiration for the shack is the little cabin that was in Evil Dead 2. I was watching it just the other day, and I noticed the cabin. I was like, okay, that looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll try to recreate that. But anyway, if the weather clears up, I'll be able to do that. If not, I'll just cover it with black fabric. But what I'm working on now is this dividing wall, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get this fabric that I bought. It's a little bit thicker than this muslin fabric, so it won't let light pass through, and it's heavier, so if there is any wind, getting into the garage, hopefully it won't be blowing all over the place. But I'm going to decorate the fabric. Once I put the fabric up, I'm going to layer some decorations. So let me show you what I've got here. And sorry about the lighting. Obviously there's no power, so I don't have any light, but I got a bunch of creepy cloth. I just try to recycle and save this stuff as best I can. If you can find the lighter colors, the grays and the greens, they actually, I think it's better. I think it translates better. Because if you just put creepy cloth on black on black on black, it's just hard to see anything. But the dollar store always has creepy cloth for $1, and it's a good deal. It's a little bit smaller than what you'd find at like a Spirit Halloween, but it's $1 compared to like $9 or whatever the hell they're charging nowadays for this crap. But this stuff is a lifesaver. It's really effective at layering textures to give you that really creepy look. So my idea is to use a combination of this creepy cloth, and I actually have this camo netting too that I might put up. Here's what it looks like in the package. But I may put that up. It's actually kind of cheap and flimsy though, so I was just afraid of, I'd have to use like a lot of tacks. And I got 3 packages of this fake foliage from Amazon. This is a little bit bright, so I may shoot it with a little black spray paint. I'm not sure. But I have, so 1 package of this, 1 package of this garland type ivy, and this is just another different type. So what I'm going to do is cut everything in half with the exception of these. I don't know if I'm going to cut those in half or not, but I'll cut these in half since they're so long, and that way I can kind of space it out. And these were about anywhere from $15 to $18 on Amazon, and I just ordered another set because I just don't think I'm going to have enough. Since there's two kind of 16-foot walkways, I've really got to be creative on how I decorate the side. I just don't want to buy a ton of this stuff, obviously. But we'll see how it goes. Now remember, I have a total of 6 lasers mounted here, and in order for this gag to work, you want all of those lasers to come completely 360 degrees around the subject as they're walking through. For that reason, I'm doing this dividing wall, and I'm making sure that I'm careful to measure the final length of it so that it doesn't cut off the lasers on either side, so those lasers can pass through from one side to the other. So you can see what that layering does. It has a lot of texture. I'm really happy with how this came out. Super exciting. It took a little while, but